Phil Spencer went on the official Xbox playlist and gave us some updates on what the future is for the console, Xbox publishing, and the market. So let's talk about some of the headlines. For the purposes of keeping things brief, we're only going to be highlighting like 3 sections of the conversation that they had on the show, give our perspective, and by we, I mean mostly Mendachi, who is an Xbox customer.
One of those people.
One of those people. I mean,
I smell like Doritos.
You smell your breath. It smells like Mountain Dew.
So I guess just like off of that, like just a quick tangent, what do PlayStation players smell like then?
Probably Pepsi.
Victory.
Pepsi.
I don't know. I haven't been a PlayStation owner in a long time, so.
All right, so let's talk about the changes to exclusivity. That took up the biggest part of the show, with roughly 5 minutes of the nearly 23-minute show being dedicated to the conversation around exclusivity. Here they announced that 4 Xbox exclusive games will be available to other platforms. Spencer didn't say specifically which games would be breaking into the wider market, saying the teams behind them are working on their own announcement plans. But of course, right? A lot of rampant speculation online. Some of the games that are being thrown around are Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, Sea of Thieves, and Penitent. What do you guys think? Like, what are your predictions here?
I think it'd be a great show of faith if Microsoft is trying to end the exclusivity wars to just release the Halo Master Chief Collection on PS5. The other flagship games, I'm sure we will see, like Sea of Thieves and Grounded, but my main thought is for sure Halo. They seem pretty sure that of this decision to move forward or move towards the publishing side rather than like fighting for sales or on consoles. That they make a terrible profit margin on anyway. So my vote's Halo. I feel like that's like the one clear way Microsoft can be like, hey, we're pretty serious about this.
I think that it's a pretty difficult discussion, right? Like on one hand, you really have to think about what games have what servers available. You know, if they want to facilitate cross-platforming, which they might not anyway. But exclusivity is supposed to drive market competition. I mean, like that's at least the overall idea. However, I really don't think that people are buying Xboxes for exclusivity. I think a lot of them are buying Xbox S systems for the low price tag of, you know, getting through the gate into next gen, as ironic as that is. But that being said, I think it's a smart decision for Microsoft as a whole. You know, just trying to comp some losses. I mean, that makes sense. And I don't think anyone will be like too mad unless you're a super fanboy or something. But whether that's going to be successful, I think is really hard to say. But what can be said for sure is that a lot of these games, Hi-Fi Rush being one of my personal favorites of all time, definitely deserves to have a larger player base and attention for longevity, not just of the game, but also for the game studios.
So really, of course, this is just speculation on our part. We aren't going to know until it's announced. But what we do know for a fact is that it is not Starfield or Indiana Jones, which I'm sure is a big disappointment for PlayStation players.
I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I just
Starfield.
I just want Indiana Jones to come out so Machine Games can give me another Wolfenstein.
Yeah, we also know that games are community-driven games over a year old, and that at least 2 of the games were never meant to be exclusives and are like smaller creative games.
Yeah, and like it's kind of harkens back to what I had said before as well. Like larger communities mean the games live longer, which leads to or can lead to better player experiences, potentially higher profits for those studios, and more reasons for developers to keep those titles patched or otherwise updated.
Yeah. Phil also mentioned that he thinks exclusivity on hardware will be a smaller part of the games industry moving forward. And instead of just quoting him here, I'm just going to play the video. Future Danny, roll the clip.
Games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms.
So moving on from exclusivity, let's talk about some of the things they said about preservation and kind of moving into the future. They talked about libraries and a little bit about the preservation, mostly connected to teasing. Like there's a new hardware potential that they're going to talk about in like the holiday time frame of this year. But you know, we are a customer focused show. This is a very important topic to us. We've talked about it before. We firmly believe that your purchases are yours. They should remain yours. You should be able to keep and maintain your library no matter how much, no matter how it exists, right? If it's digital, physical media, whatever. So what is Xbox doing in this space? They are claiming that they're going to continue to make games backwards compatible and are looking to take a more PC-like approach. He specifically mentioned how, you know, on Windows, that your games are your games are your games. You can keep playing them as long as there's compatibility with your operating system. You can still play most of your games. And that's the direction that they want to go moving forward. They also see, and this is kind of interesting to me, they also see that like cloud gaming is going to be a part of their preservation strategy, which on its face like makes sense. But the question I then have is, are they actually dedicated to preservation, or is this just access to your library, right? Because to me, preservation is making sure that there's no way that your game can just get lost into the ether, that Xbox, Microsoft, whoever the publishers can just delist your game and you can't access it even if you bought it, right? So I would love to see if they are like working on policy changes, if they're going to move in that direction, or if they're just claiming that cloud gaming is a part of the preservation. But
yeah, that's definitely something that I think Microsoft does have a leg up with. You know, digital preservation of games can be easily achieved with Game Pass and its library system. The only problem I see currently with Game Pass is the shifting of games in and out of the library. But if Xbox is serious about preserving games, they have a very stable process right now already. They can be adapted to like a Netflix style library of games all on one roof. It's just the guarantee of like keeping it in that library and not pulling it out.
Yeah, like that's a really good idea, Green. And I know that like PlayStation was trying to do stuff like that back on PS4 with like PS Now. And like they still kind of do it with the PS5 with whatever the hell their tiers are called now. But I think it's pretty cool that I can literally go downstairs, turn on my Xbox One, and play Army of Two because I bought it digitally on my Xbox 360 when I was like 16. Like, that's kind of nuts to me.
all right, so let's talk about layoffs and growth, right? Quote, but it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations. That is what Phil Spencer said when he was asked how Xbox is keeping up with the industry. And mind you, this statement comes in the year where Microsoft and Xbox completed their acquisition of ABK. They broke their own record of acquiring Bethesda with a purchase of $69 billion. And in their self-reported Q3 earnings report, they were up 7%. We also know that in 2023, industry-wide across all sectors of the industry, the estimated value was up. We also know that in 2023, industry-wide, there was growth. And the estimated market value of 2022 across all sectors was $361 billion, which was a decrease from 2021. But in 2023, there was an estimated $406 billion. That's the estimated market value. So there was growth. We know that for a fact.
Billies.
Yeah. I honestly think the statement from Spencer is just cover to make investors happy and to start giving excuses for laying off more people in favor of exploiting AI solutions. That's all. That's the only reason I think he made that statement.
That happens a lot in corporate America and in big industries. Well, you know, we can't say that, you know, we're just laying you off because we want a profit increase, but, you know, they're going to ping something off like, you know, workload or not meeting right metrics for your workload. Oh, we're just having a bad year, even though they self-report that they have a phenomenal year. You know, like it's crazy. It's stupid. It's silly.
Yeah, and that's something that's probably never going to change. which is really too bad. And I've got some final thoughts on the podcast as a whole. As a longtime Xbox consumer, like I self-reported, like yeah, back in whatever, I had an Xbox 360, and I probably had like 3 different 360s, and I had a One for a very long time. I got the Xbox One Series X. I have Game Pass on my PC. Like I'm a mark, but I'm not a shill. And I'm going to explain why. So I don't buy games that are on Game Pass for myself because why would I? They're free. But I but I have bought a game or two for a friend who does not have a Game Pass but would like to likely enjoy that game as much as I do. But I don't usually buy off of the Microsoft Digital Store for them. Instead, I go to like Steam, where I know that they play games. And more on that Xbox Game Pass, I have Game Pass Ultimate, which allows me to stream games, which is just terrible. It's awful. It's unplayable. I just went back not too long ago to play RE2 Remake, and I was like, oh, I don't want to wait for the download. I'll just play. And you can't aim because it's just so bad. It lags so horribly. And then it also has the service of being able to stream from my Xbox to my PC, completely wired network. So, shouldn't have any issues, but it's not great. It's not awful, but it is, I would say, faulty. Just not, the best way to play. It's like I might as well just go downstairs to my living room and play that way. And more on Game Pass, really, Game Pass on console is still miles ahead of what's available on PC. That means like most of the games that I want to play will have to be on my console, played in my living room rather than my computer office where I'm at now, unless I want to just deal with the streaming from my Xbox. So, moreover, like PC Game Pass players are still separated from other PC game players in many games, which means I'm still going to ask all of my friends what platform they're playing on before I download something or make a purchase overall. And with that being said, I think there's still some glaring issues that Microsoft has to shore up. It'll likely continue to be an uphill battle for them, though. And like they're now this weird amalgamated gaming abomination company thing. And I fear that they're going to continue to miss the forest for the trees in favor of more experimental and niche pursuits that I think many users won't have a use for, or they can't properly utilize due to the experimental and only semi-functioning nature.
The biggest thing that we'll have to keep an eye out for is what Microsoft does in the next 2 years.
Yeah, wary optimism, I think, is what everyone should look at. The exclusivity deal is good. There's no bad about that because, more games getting in front of more people is cool and good.
And if you are upset about like exclusivity changing, go outside and touch grass.
I guess, yeah.
Like all the people who are so mad about Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn. I think that's the one that was the first one, right?
Yeah.
And there were so many PlayStation players that were like, I paid for the exclusivity. I got a PlayStation 4 for this. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, like, hey, buddy, guess what? You still have a PS4.
Congratulations, you still have the game. Like,
yeah.
Did you enjoy the game?
Oh,
are you just upset that other people can't enjoy the game?
Never green, never blue, never green, never happy.
Who hurt you?
All right, I think that's going to do it on this analysis of the some Xbox news that we have coming out. If you guys have your opinions, let us know in the comments. We do read your comments, and we do respond to them as often as we possibly can. So let us know your thoughts on the news, what you think. Give us some rampant speculation down in the comments. Until the next time, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights, and we'll see you in the next video.